Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 3 for this news report today. It's Tuesday, March 26, 2013. I'm Darko. My website's ggnonline.com. If you'd like to help me out, I'd truly appreciate it. I know times are tough with the tax man coming after everybody. But also, my YouTube channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013. The headlines and links will be posted in YouTube's video description, so please check those out. I'm going to have a bunch of good links up tonight. All right, so we just covered about what feminism is the key to making a slave. Went through the history of a slave owner, what he said, and then how it paralleled to now, about how it actually is being used to break down the traditional male. Where have all the real men gone? This is a personal experience from one individual. Huge problem, male suicide rates, and suicide rates among mostly whites and males. All these people, millions of lonely people, result of the left, what they call progressiveness or whatever, liberalism has led to people's families just breaking up, the divorce rates going up, the abortion rates going up, all of these people that helped create this counterculture all splitting up themselves, called a silver separation, because, well, they have what they want and now they just ditch and bail out on their significant other. So yeah, you know, babies are a parasitic burden on society, right? And we left off with basically saying why women have abortions, because it would interfere with their careers, with work, with school, or other responsibilities. You know, it's like I just heard recently of someone that their husband's making 80,000-90,000 a year. Now, yeah, back in the day that would be a lot more for purchasing power, but it's like then they're still wanting to go to school, right? They're still wanting to go to school and whatever, and teach or something like that. It's unbelievable. It's just like, why? You don't have to. You know what I mean? Why? So you could have like a humongous TV. So you could have a nicer car. It's insane what people are doing. I mean, they're completely this generation. These generations now they've completely accepted the programming. They've completely accepted the mentality that the engineers want, that they desire, as they would call it, a desired behavior. Because, like I said before, even by the 50s, by the mid-40s, the damage was already done. Just imagine how it was, when I was born in the 80s. Got to be independent. First female Marines take combat leadership test. So I'm just going to go through a big string of articles. I'm not going to go through them in detail. This is just to lay the template here. First female Marines take combat leadership tests. They unload their rifles and patrol with Afghan soldiers. Women in the U.S. military have been flying warplanes for years and recently began serving in artillery and tank units, but they're still barred from direct combat, so they're being oppressed. Now, for the first time in the course's 35-year history, the Marine Corps is putting the first women through its grueling infantry officer course. The official reason for prohibition against women in combat roles stem from job-related physical requirements. So it doesn't have to do with cultural requirements as far as the traditional family goes. No, we're way beyond that. So now it just has to be, well, they can't carry a machine gun and ammo cans and stuff and truck up hills. That would exclude the vast majority of women. Hopefully you remember this article. Pregnant UK soldier gives birth on the front line. Didn't know she was pregnant from September of last year, so not too long ago. British servicewoman has given birth to a baby boy 5 weeks premature on the front line while serving as a gunner in the Royal Artillery in Afghanistan. She's been deployed since March to help provide covering fire for troops fighting insurgents. She didn't know she was pregnant and was astonished when she fired or reported to the medics for stomach pains, only to be told that she was about to give birth. So, and someone pointed this out to me, a pretty interesting concept about all these men that are out doing 2-3 tours out there in combat. They need female companionship. Well, what better to incorporate females and tell them to do their civic duty, and you're just as equal, because it fits that whole equality and you're being oppressed thing. So then they get duped and then they go out there and they get raped, right? I saw it when I was in the Marine Corps. I mean, I didn't see it personally, but I saw the stories, of this happening while we were deployed. And I never deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq, but in other foreign countries on just regular general deployments. I saw it. So I mean, this does happen, and that was probably the reason. So, and I think also you have to remember, like in China, where they have the one child policy, that's creating basically what I call eugenics blowback or engineering blowback, which is they have a bunch of young men that aren't willing to fight, and they're not even physically or emotionally, psychologically able to go into combat if they had to. So again, maybe they're trying to fill these gaps as a result of emasculating or feminizing men. I'm just throwing it out there. You don't have to agree with me on everything out here, and you can say, "Well, Darko, just cover the issues." Well, I don't want to today, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna cover this issue. I mean, it all sprung from this stupid-ass article here: Secret Service to get first female director. So I'm just so sick and tired of hearing this that I just figured I'd just cover the insanity, right? So let's cover the insanity. And Afghanistan's first female rapper refuses to be silenced. So listen to my voice. It's not just your choice. So Air Force Academy to get first female leader. Major General Michèle Johnson was also school's first female Rhodes Scholar and first female cadet wing commander. So Air Force Academy's first female superintendent. Will Michèle Flournoy be the first female Secretary of Defense? So obviously she isn't, but you can see just like Clinton, the first female president, they're looking if they can get it. First female combat veterans elected to Congress may lead to change in military. So it says here that these representatives stood on stage among the male military veterans elected this year. It says it marks the first time in history 2 female combat veterans will serve in public office. Obviously, you have this. The Secret Service is getting a historic change at the top. Obama's picked the first woman to lead the agency, Secret Service. So, it says here Obama picked her it says here that, what is it? Part of the reason he picked her is that he wants to change the macho man culture that has led to messes such as last year's prostitution scandal in Colombia. Can South Korea's first female president fix the developed world gender gap? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Kind of like Suu Kyi. Yeah, she's doing a real good job with those Rohingya Muslims getting slaughtered by Buddhist extremists, right? That's a democratic state they got out there. We have here a presidential debate monitor. Candy Crowley is the first female debate monitor in 20 years. And, of course, she made some static as she kept butting into it with her personal comments. And yeah, the first woman to command the International Space Station matches the annual celebration of National Women's History Month. Sally Ride, the first woman who was in space, I guess she died. I saw the article, like 86 years old or something. First female commander of Carrier Air Wing takes reins. Captain Sarah Joyner laughed when she realized, as the first female fighter pilot to command a Carrier Air Wing, she would answer to the call sign Battle Axe. It says here, if you look up the word battle axe, it is slightly overbearing and a domineering woman. Her promotion represents a significant breakthrough for gender equality in a profession still dominated by men. So they're oppressed. Men are the aggressors, the oppressors. Rwanda's first female pilot takes to the skies at 24, trained to fly the Rwanda Air regional jets despite her father being killed in a plane crash when she was 8. It says here her plan was not well received by some of her family. It says one person who never questioned her plans was her mother, a strong farmer and businesswoman. She wasn't fazed to see her daughter take to the air. I didn't get resistance from her. It says in her time she was the only girl in her electricity class, so she doesn't have any issues. She has 5 children, whether we want to do fashion or aviation, as long as we're doing something we're interested in. So they talk about Rwanda and genocide and human rights. And it goes on and says particular progress has been made towards gender equality. Women make up more than half of MPs. Things are changing. Before, you wouldn't find women driving taxis here, and now you see it. There are men who are cooks now in Rwanda, when in African culture, women have to cook. So I think eventually things will change. So, yeah, and they are changing things in Africa, even though there's some stiff resistance, but they don't care, the globalists and eugenicists and social engineers. They'll keep attacking them like everybody else. Angola president's daughter, Africa's first female billionaire. Businesswoman Isabel dos Santos, daughter of long-serving Angolan president, is Africa's first female billionaire. Advertising Research Foundation gets first female leaders from March 18th of this year. They're naming a longtime research executive at General Mills as its next president chief executive, making her the first woman to lead the organization. Wanting to gain a way to gain insight into consumer behavior, they said as far as becoming the first woman to lead the ARF, she added a lot of consumers are women. West Virginia woman signs on as first female Bradley mechanic. So Bernstein will be the first female 91M Bradley fighting vehicle system maintainer. So she won't be a distraction. She's eager to begin training for a new position in spite of her unique standing as the first woman to hold the job. She says she views herself as a strong woman who is capable of pulling her weight in the field and that she expects that her fellow soldiers will treat her as such. Ronda Rousey signs landmark deal. This is from November of last year. Most of you probably know this, but I don't really watch UFC, but I've heard of it from some people that are diehards. A week's worth of rumors were answered Friday when Dana White confirmed that Strikeforce female bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey is headed to the UFC. So, she's a real fighter and she's very talented. UFC has long balked at the prospect of adding women into its fold because of the perception that there wasn't enough depth to create meaningful weight classes. The rising star had a significant impact on the way White viewed the potential for female fighters in the UFC. Could the NFL have its first female player? So it says here she became the first woman to compete at the NFL Regional Scouting Combine on Saturday. This is from March of this year. Danica Patrick becomes first woman to take pole at the Daytona 500. She said, "I was brought up to be the fastest driver, not the fastest girl. That's how I've always approached my racing career. I've been lucky enough to make history and be the first woman to do many things. We have a lot more history to make, and we're excited to do it." Christmas Abbott is the first female NASCAR pit crew member. Her name is Christmas, and it goes on here. It says she'll become basically a racing business goddess. It says here she's a gym owner who bears a gun tattoo on her hip and worked for years as a civilian contractor in Baghdad doing military laundry, no less. At 5'3", 115 pounds, her weightlifting workouts will no doubt help Abbott's endure the sport's lightning-fast tire changes, heaving 90-pound gas cans and jacking up stock cars in a very manly operation where seconds can mean the difference between winning and going home. It says she dodged IEDs in Iraq, giving her significant experience in handling pressure. This is all in the last couple of years. August 2012, Augusta National Golf Club admits first female members. The Augusta National Golf Club has admitted its first female members. The private club announced on Monday, trying to become the NBA's first female coach. It says here, women have served in the government positions in the military. They have won Nobel Peace Prizes and led major corporations, but no woman has ever coached an NBA team. Natalie Nakase wants to be the first. Shannon Easton, first female NFL referee, set to make debut Thursday. This is from August of last year. So, now set to become the first woman to officiate an NFL game. The league confirmed on Monday, according to USA Today. Then, Mail on Sunday appoints Fleet Street's first female sports editor. So they appointed the first female sports editor of the national newspaper, Allison Curvin. She describes her job as an opportunity, adding, "I have no doubt we can take a very strong sports section to even greater heights," kind of like the advertising and marketing. They keep calling it about modern culture, modern culture. This Angela Berners-Wilson, "I was the first female priest in England, the first female priest on proving herself to her parishioners. Her current job as university chaplain and why women should be allowed to become bishops." There are still pockets of resistance, they say. We have a lot of women clergy now, and equal numbers of men and women are entering theological college, although there's still a long way to go. That struggle. And finishing up, remember the last quote, "We are intruders, we are disturbers, we are subverters. We take in your natural world, your ideals, your destiny, and played havoc with them." It says here that we are still doing it, and no one can tell how long we shall go on doing it. And the end is still a long way off. We still dominate you. At this very moment, your churches are torn asunder by a civil war between fundamentalist and modernist. That is to say, between those who cling to our teachings and those who are striving by slow steps to dispossess us. An article for the Century Magazine, January 1928. There will be no more religions. Not only would the existence of a priest class remain a constant danger to our rule, but belief in an afterlife would give spiritual strength to the irreconcilable element in many countries. We will, however, retain the rituals and customs of Judaism as the mark of our hereditary ruling caste, strengthened by our racial laws so that no Jew will be allowed to marry outside our race, nor will any stranger be accepted by us. We may have to repeat the grim days of World War II when we were forced to let the Hitlerite band sacrifice some of our people in order that we may have adequate documentation and witnesses to legally justify our trial and execution of the leaders of America and Russia as war criminals. after we have dictated the peace. Sacrifice of a few thousand Jews in exchange for world leadership is indeed a small price to pay. Thank you.